everyone, it's Paul. Bet you don't know what this hot glue gun and this UV pen have in common, but I'm about to explain it to you. You see, we're talking about 3D printing. Now, I know a lot of us think about 3D printing and we think of that mythological Star Trek replicator thing where you tell a computer to make yourself an Earl Grey hot and it instantaneously appears in front of you. But sadly, we're not quite there yet. What it actually is something called additive manufacturing. Additive manufacturing means taking a layer of something and adding something to it until you have a product that you want. Back in the 1950s, it was created for something called an inkjet printer, but we don't use that term much anymore. We use additive manufacturing to describe things such as 3D printing or fused deposition materials or stereolithography, so the FDM or the SLA. There's a bunch of other versions of 3D printing that's out there, but those are the two that we're most likely going to be familiar with on the day-to-day basis. So FDM, or fused deposition material, is basically this hot glue gun hooked up to a computer. Just like how this hot glue gun gets warm on the inside and extrudes a bit of glue and you can put it into a pattern, the same thing is happening but with a filament. The heating element inside heats that filament and then a computer tells the nozzle where to go. And as it draws it out, it creates a pattern and then it will raise itself a little bit and do it over and over again, fusing individual layers together until it creates a 3D object. That's FDM, or fused deposition material. That is the most common and the cheapest 3D printing that you're able to get into on the consumer market. The other process has to do with this UV flashlight. Stereolithography is where you take a resin and cure it using UV light. Typically what happens is there is a vat of liquid and a plate that is the build plate is what it's called, and that is sunk into the layer of resin. It is pressed down against a very clear window made of a special material, and it squeezes it so tight together that only a micron layer of resin, liquid resin, is left in between. The UV light exposes that resin between the metal plate and that clear barrier, causing that to cure. Then it raises itself up a little bit, cures another layer, continuing on to create a resin version of it. So what's the difference between the pieces besides really the material that's being used? Well, it all comes down to how they're going to utilize the finished piece once it's done being created. When you're using an FDM process, the hot glue gun process, you're actually creating a piece that is a little bit rougher on the outside due to all the visible layer lines, but the plus side to that is that there's a wider range of materials that you can use for it. Everything from plastics to woods to ceramics to lost wax castings or even chocolate or cement are available in the fused deposition modeling type of approach. Whereas with the resin casting or the SLA 3D printing, the pieces come out a lot cleaner, they take a lot less post-processing, but they're a lot more brittle and there's fewer materials that are available to use in that. So FDM technology is going to allow you to have a wider range of materials to be available to you, but at the cost of it looking cleaner or sharper, it's going to take a little bit more work to get it to a finished quality print. Whereas SLA technology is going to allow you to have a cleaner, crisper looking finished product, but you're limited on your materials and they can be a little bit more brittle. So there you have it. I bet you didn't know what all this hubbub about 3D printing is, but now you do. Remember to work smarter, not harder, and hopefully you guys learned something today. I know I did. Hope to see you guys next time. Take care.